Welcome back everyone to Megaman Revenge of the Fallen, and we have a cool little icon for the Centaur Flash in the save file. But now our next goal is Toadman's level, the second water level of the bunch, and I dare say probably the most annoying one of the two. Now, I was pretty shocked, you know, like Toadman, really? He was literally the dumbest and easiest boss of the entire Mega Man 4 lineup. But Dark Flame Wolf managed to make quite a level out of it, and I'd say improve his battle overall. Now, it's a little slow on the recording. As you can see, there's a lot of skipped frames and such. However, it plays a lot faster when a recording device is not part of the part of the equation. But as you can see, you can easily avoid all of those, you know, Pega bird, rocket bird, ducklings, whatever, if you can lure them in such a way that you can slide under or jump over them. Now this next section is kind of a maze in a way. The upper route is the one you really want to take. The lower route takes you to some power-ups, but they're extremely hard to get without any sort of weapons or upgrades or things like that. But yeah, I like the fact that even in one single path you have multiple routes, like you have an upper route and you have a lower route. So you get to choose which route you'd rather go through. One is of course harder than the other. And this is pretty much introducing a single enemy all by itself. So, I mean, if you were a more daring player and probably a speedrunner, you could probably just run straight through this and probably get through unscathed, because let's face it, the Yambos are pretty slow. And that upper ceiling portion there that has no actual ceiling, that actually is the end of an alternate path, as is that extra energy tank, which is seemingly unreachable at the present juncture. And we have Escargot! And I will have to say that the jump limiting capabilities of the waterfall does not exist in this game, so that actually is very much appreciated. So you can actually jump full height even underneath the waterfall. So that helps us out a lot in quite a few situations in this game, or at least specifically in this level. And here's another mid-boss point room. And this is the major checkpoint of the game right here. And this is something that we haven't really seen in Toadman's level in Mega Man 4. We have an underwater section. So it isn't just a level... Oh, yeah, I forgot I died on this take. But yeah, we hadn't really seen any underwater segments yet in this level. And it's been like, you know, all about water, like in the rain. You know, maybe at the bottom of the screen, maybe a little tile or two of water, but here it's like you're fully underneath it. And I think that's a welcome addition to this level, this sewer level, that wasn't present in the original Mega Man 4. And in fact, I think these tiles, the blue tiles in the background, are wholly new. So I think they're edited tiles specifically for this section. Ah! Okay, a little bit of a weird physics thing. I'm going to have to probably report that. And wow! You can see that extra one up there. So clearly there's an alternate path that we must have missed somewhere in the back, and I'll reveal that later in the video. And I am doing awesome at avoiding all these Pegaducks, rocket ducks, whatever. Now this Escargot seems hard just based on, you know, the multiple platforms and spikes and underwater physics, but it's really not that bad. You just gotta jump back and forth between the two platforms as he's attacking you, and you should be fine. Now this section, there's a lot of spikes. Not necessarily this jump, but the jump up to this higher section right here, this can be a little tricky. And then of course you have to do a little bit of a sliding here, so get as close as you dare, and slide underneath the low ceiling of spikes. And that's another tricky jump right there. And I guess, I think after this next jump, all the way up to the ladder, you're pretty much clear sailing from here, in terms of just underwater spike areas. The rest of the level is pretty much nothing home to write about, although You do have one more escargot to fight. The one thing I liked about the little mini-bosses in this level, each one is under a different environmental obstacle. Like the first one had the flowing water. The second one was underwater, so you had the underwater physics to deal with. And then this one has the flowing water again, but with the addition of the rain, which pushes back your jumps, which can make or break some attacks or your movements. And not only that, you have to actually get up to the level of the escargot, like here. See, you have to actually jump up to it. So that can be a little tricky. And you don't really have much room to maneuver either. So you're either going to have to lose ground or drop back down, depending on which attack it does. So as you can see, I'm having a little bit of a difficulty. And off to the left here, behind this little waterfall, is a small 500-point ball. So just for those who were looking for extra points. And yeah, that dragonfly can be pretty evil and catch some people off guard if you're not expecting it. Now, the first thing you'll notice is that this arena has two very deadly drops on the far left and right. And you only get one shot at touching the edges of the playing field. The platforms will drop down, then after that, it's all instant death from there. And as you can see, he's pretty difficult, and more difficult than his other incarnation. Now, a normal Buster Shot will not cancel his Rain Flesh. A charged shot will, however, or his weakness. Now this is interesting. About halfway through his health, he'll jump into the waterfall and shoot shots at you for several times. If you happen to be in the waterfall behind you at any moment, he'll actually drag you in to the waterfall and drain your energy and restore his. So that's something to watch out for. But he's a fairly easy boss if you're careful where you're stepping and don't hit the edges. Now Rain Flesh is another full screen attack. It's not as useful as the Centaur Flash, but it does have its magma freezing capabilities, which can give you access to quite a few items in Magma Man stage. Yep, and here is a new... Uh-oh, we got Punk, Inker, and Ballad. So in classic Mega Man X fashion, after two Robot Masters have been defeated, you get a nice little story point and new villains to tackle in the middle of the Robot Master stages. And cool little detail back there with Heat Man, Snake Man, Solar Man, Skull Man, and Napalm Man. So it's like he's rebuilding these robots. And of course we have Nightman somewhere out there as Plan B failsafe. And that's all there is to Toadman. Plus, there's one line of question marks we don't know what it's all about, but I'm going to show you in just a moment. Okay, the first alternate path actually starts here at the very beginning. You want to switch to either Rush Coil, Rush Jet, or even the Tornado Blow can help you get up to the second rainy area. And it's not much different from the first area, although the location of some of the rocket birds are a little bit more difficult to avoid. That was one of them. This can be another one because it's just so low to the ground, it's kind of hard to avoid the ducklings. This one's not so bad. So you think you're going to go back into the sewers, and then all of a sudden you're right back out in the rain again, so that's interesting. Interesting design, actually. And then you're back in the sewers, all in one screen. I'm not really sure why I did that. Okay, now here's where the alternate path gets interesting. You can take the bottom path and go straight back onto the normal route just below there, or you can take the top path and keep going right, or take the bottom path with the spark shock and go down. But we're going to go right and show you the alternate path to get to the extra life. So you got to watch out here. You'll have the high jumping capabilities of underwater, but once you hit the rain, you're actually going to lose distance. So you got to be careful. Your jumping capabilities changes the moment you leave the water and then the moment you come back into the water. So you got to watch out for that. And take your time on these platforms. The Yambos would love to knock you off. And you get 1,000 points for the endeavor too, so that's cool. And that's how you get the extra life. And since we're here, we might as well go show the extra secret exit to the level, which takes you to Nightman stage. This is one of 3 levels that will take you to Nightman stage. You can get up here normally actually, but it's easier to just do the rush coil. And totally not intuitive. Walk above the ceiling in classic Super Mario Bros. Fashion, and you have a small little warp. And that takes you directly to Nightman stage. But we're not going to display Nightman here. We're going to show his level in a different video. So back to the alternate path we were exploring. This time we're going to yeah, I had forgotten that I took the wrong exit. But yeah, heading down there would just take you back to the main path. And that's ultimately where we want to go, but we want to get the extra energy tank first. So this looks like a dead piece of machinery, and the only thing that will revive it, of course, is the spark shock. And there's your energy tank. And finally, the rush coil. You don't really need anything to get to it, honestly. This is towards the end of the level in the last part of the underwater area. As you can see, there's a nice little interesting gap there at the bottom of the screen. You just fall through the spiked corridor, and you're in a totally new area. There isn't too much here to stop you other than some amoebas and maybe a bad jump or two, but and here you don't have to worry about the spikes on the ceiling. You can jump as high as you want, but you'll never get as high as those spikes to grab this rush coil. And that's pretty much it. That was a fairly easy upgrade to find and acquire. You don't need any special items. And this just takes you back up to the area we can slide through and continue on through the level. And that's all there is to Toadman stage.